Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. If you like The Mike Wagner Show and you want to make your own podcast, well, let me tell you about Anchor. First of all, it's free. Secondly, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. You can also add any song from Spotify directly to your episodes. The possibilities are endless. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. You can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. This edition of The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books, where remembering is the key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. And who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs? The holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry all at the same time? Whatever gift of Grandma's recipes, or just because, those smiles and tears will melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809 or visit PictureThisPhotoBooks.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books, bringing your memories back to life. They're whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. It's time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, then you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries with 2 strangers and 1 target where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by Hollywood celebrities including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Order Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, now available at Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is like to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Goes Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia. Available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books, where remembering is a key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at a wedding, and even more so at yours. Who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs, huh? Well, the holidays are coming. And what better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry at the same time? Whatever gift of Grandma's recipes or just because, those smiles and tears will just melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw, Picture This Photo Books at 646-798-0809 or visit PictureThisPhotoBooks.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books, bring your memories back to life. The whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com and over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Play, Apple Music, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today, and check out The Mike Wagner Show merchandise at themikewagnershow.com and also on Amazon.com. Check out The Mike Wagner Show podcast, t-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, makes great gifts year-round for family, friends, and more. And don't forget to check out the Me and Molson Zia store on Amazon for great merchandise like t-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, also great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Check out the Amazon.com store at Me and Molson Zia. And don't forget to support generously at the MikeWagnerShow.com with your donation. Also on Anchor FM/support and PayPal at the Mike Wagner Show and Mike Wagner Voiceover. And make sure you do so today. We're here with a terrific lady who grew up in the 60s and 70s as a self-proclaimed hippie and joined the corporate world as a project manager and later became a counselor as well. And she's all at the University of Chicago and a business owner. And she also has a couple of books, including Poof, You're a Project Manager and Other Illusions of Grandeur. And we'll talk about her most recent book, Come On, Let's Play, Living and Playing and Moving Forward. And of course, we can use some playtime, huh? Live, ladies and gentlemen, from Plus Studios, somewhere up in beautiful Illinois, the very multi-talented author of Come On, Let's Play, and Let's Play with Dee Suberla. Dee, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. And thank you for such a kind introduction.
Well, you've got an amazing story as well, too, that you grew up in the 60s and 70s as a self-proclaimed hippie. You joined the corporate world as a project manager and later became a counselor or coach, I should say.
Coach,
and,
yeah.
Coach. Okay. I got to blame my producer for giving me information here. So I'm kidding.
No.
No. It's my producer. So it's like I have to give him a little coaching on this one here. So also you're at the University of Chicago. You're also a business owner. And you also had a previous book called Poof, You're a Project Manager and Other Delusions of Grandeur. And you have a new book called Come On, Let's Play, Living, Playing, and Moving Forward. Talk about that book. But before getting to all that, Dee, tell us how you first got started.
Well, of course, with my book, it starts at the very beginning, but getting started for writing books, etc. I've always wanted to write, but I don't know. I guess I didn't have the courage. So getting involved in corporate America, I started at a pretty low level, didn't come in as a project manager, worked my way up. I was at the same organization for about 30 years, and it really was like, maybe, 20, 30 companies under one roof. It wasn't, it was a large company, but you could move around. So it felt like I was doing different things. But once I got into project management, I knew I was home. And I always equate that to sort of standing in the middle of a hurricane or something. It's sort of like your hair is blowing around and stuff, but you're all steady. And, that's what you're doing. You're trying to keep everything on track with lots of great folks. So I worked my way up that way. And when it came time for me to say, you know what, maybe it's time for me to move on to do something else, for about the last year and a half, every time something that happened that made me kind of frustrated, I kept a logbook next to my desk. And every time I would write a new chapter to my book, I'm writing a book on this, and I would write a new chapter. I hadn't had any books yet, but so it turned out that when I left, I was with a really great consulting organization for a while, and we talked about that, and she suggested I maybe write a little book from one of those titles, because she was putting on a conference and I was going to speak. So the project, Poof, You're a Project Manager was the note. And which is really, it's really just where management comes by and says, Poof, you're a project manager. They decide, project's in trouble. We need a project manager. They label somebody that, and then they think they're going to have something different.
Huh. Interesting. It almost sounds like it's like they put on a blindfold and go, you're a project manager. Pin the tail. No, you're a project manager. It's like, you're a project manager. Okay.
Not it.
I know, I'm kidding. I can imagine like in corporations. Yeah. It's okay. Pick a number 1 to 10. 5. You're a project manager.
You're a project manager. Yeah. And so, and I kind of make fun with that sort of idea that, okay, we need a project manager who's really good at their job, a great engineer, a great scientist, a great marketing person. And they still don't have any project management training. Even if you use capital letters on project manager, it doesn't help. So that book was my first, and it was really originally intended for a handout at the speaking engagement. But it is a sort of a lifesaver, throwing it out to those people who get poofed into project management existence. And so went on with the all through my corporate and through my consulting work. I always wound up coaching people, and sometimes rumors fly, and you get people calling you. Other times it's an agreement. Sometimes it's coming in from corporate. Not corporate, but a new job. I need a new job, or I need this, or maybe it's something really vague, and which leans over into that life coaching. But to me, it's all the same stuff, and that's what Come On, Let's Play is. All of this information that I found out along the way that I really wanted to share with people. It's information for the picking. It's out there. It's done by many different people over many decades, maybe centuries in a couple of cases.
Wow.
But it's all about how we think and how much we're accountable. So that book, I did Poof, Your Project Manager, and some people bought it. Wow, that was cool. And so I reread it, and I thought, oh my gosh, pardon me, I'm losing my earpiece here.
That's okay. Sometimes I wonder about my earpieces myself. So
good one. But it had typos and things, and I had some more information that should go in there. So I did a second edition. It's a little bit more professional, and I had a lot of fun with that. And then I went through a lot of stuff with cancer, etc. So I worked for 30 years, worked my way up. And then a month after I left work, I retired, took advantage of their retirement. I was diagnosed with breast cancer, which was like, so I went through that, and I did pretty good. My mother had a different kind of breast cancer, and they discovered it in stage 4. Mine was discovered early, but it was very aggressive. Never for a minute was I thinking I was going to die. I might have spent a full 2 or 3 minutes in the whole time, but I went through some stuff with that. It was pretty wild with the chemo, etc. And so when I got through it all, and we found a Unity Church that was up close by us here, and I'd always heard of them. In that book, people will note that I dedicated the book to a woman named Carol White. Carol has passed on, but she was my mentor on all of this stuff and this information about how we are accountable for our own lives, but we don't realize it. And it's got a different twist when you look at things like, when you think something's going to go wrong and you're waiting and waiting and waiting, you're going to find something every time, I promise you. But things also go right, and maybe we should look for that. So that's like a quick little slice on there. But so I get through this cancer thing, and I'm actually hearing the song, Is That All There Is? You know that song, Is That All There Is?
Oh, that's Tony Bennett, and later done by Peggy Lee, or unless it's reversed or something. I remember that.
Yeah, it might be reversed there.
Yeah, Peggy Lee, and I think later, I think to top 20 by Tony Bennett, I think, back in the day.
It could very well have been. It's been done by a few people, but it was so the key thing, is that all there is to life? Then let's keep dancing. And I'm walking through where we found this new church, and we weren't real big churchgoers, but Carol had always told me a lot about this kind of a church, so I was very interested. And we'd been there a few times, so we get in, we sit down, we're waiting. And I'm just kind of looking around, and that song is in my head. It's like, what the hell? I worked for 30 years at that corporation. I got through cancer, and now what? And I was consulting. I really wanted to be a consultant. And I did have some consulting work, but I felt like, is this it? Really? Now I just go lay down? What is it?
Oh, my gosh.
In the background, and I was also going, am I melancholy, or is this depression? People get depressed sometimes. They say, you have to watch out for cancer and all that. Am I depressed? So I'm going through all these weird thoughts, and the Reverend begins to speak, and all of a sudden I hear him say, so do you feel like you have more to contribute, but you just don't know how? And I went, whoop. And he said one more thing, and I turned to my husband and said, I have no idea what he's talking about, but if this is a class, I'm taking that. And it was called Prosperity Plus, and it was really geared for the church. There's a big spiritual piece to it, but the fundamentals of that information is the same. information on this coming from a corporate perspective, a spiritual perspective, a financial perspective. And it really is all about the way you think about things. And so I took that class and I loved it. I even helped them teach it for a little bit afterward. And then I went and got certified and I just loved it. And and then I discovered more after that, hey, this is everywhere. It's not just with this class, this person that created this class, although they did an amazing job bundling it. So I found out how to build a dream. And in that dream, of course, is to write a book, a real book.
Oh, interesting.
And so I wound up going to a writing conference, and one of the people I love, Dr. Wayne Dyer, was a speaker at that time.
He's really good.
And and he passed 3 months after that. Talk about yikes! I'd seen him once or twice before, but learned all about him through my friend Carol. And so I used a lot of this dream building and this open your mind and ask questions, don't just assume. And I got there. I can give you like a little exercise that I give in my presentations to illustrate the simplicity of this. Mm-hmm. Which just because something's simple doesn't mean it's easy, by the way. But
right,
the simplicity. Exactly. I saw he was going to speak, and Doreen Virtue. I thought she's pretty cool, and and the conference was only $500, but it was in Maui. And
wow.
And Maui, forget it. I can't afford those tickets. Okay, stop. And yes, I could right there. I had extra money. I could have afforded those tickets, but didn't want to spend my money there. Mm-hmm. And I thought, see, this is the exact thing that information is talking about. It's the way I think, because this is the point, the pivot point where we do this all the time. No way they're going to hire me. I won't apply for that job. Oh, that's never going to happen. I'm not even going to try. So I erased that thought. I said, okay, let's do this right. I wonder how I can get the money to go to Hawaii. And then it was like, wait a minute, I don't want to work extra time and all that. How can I get to Hawaii for free? And it was less than 24 hours. When, of course, I think probably people listening to this, well, what about, right?
What about me?
About it. Yeah. But I didn't think about it. And I did have this charge card I'd had for well over a decade. And I never used anything on it. And so I'm thinking, okay, how do rich people they always get free flights. And, the way I crept up on this was kind of funny, but it was like, miles on that card. I wonder if I have miles. And sure enough, I had more than enough miles to get there for free.
Wow.
And so I never would have got there. When I got there, I had 2 chapters of a book written, of what turned out to be Come On, Let's Play. And when I heard the first, Doreen Virtue spoke first, and she said something along the lines of, when your book is wildly successful, what was it you decided to do tonight? That makes all the difference. Mm-hmm. And it was based on, they were talking about if you're writing because you think people want to hear it, or if you think that they need it, or you're going to make money and just throw it away, save us all some time. That's not what you write for. And so the message came through kind of loud and clear, and I wrote it down that said, write the whole thing. So I introduced a new first chapter, which talked all about, it started at the beginning and some fun stuff about how I was born to play. And then my experimentation, first of all, wanting to become a hippie, succeeding, then drugs, then alcohol, a lot of bad mistakes. Mm-hmm. So I shared a lot of that. And then I talk about, it doesn't matter where you start from, because once you switch from being a victim of living, once you switch from thinking that other people, it's up to them on what you do, when you switch to I'm accountable for my life, things change a lot. And that's it. So it's the kind of thing I always would talk to people, whatever I was talking to them about. Counsel people at a bar, maybe sometimes somebody's, I'm depressed or whatever. You have a conversation, and it's always coming up the same thing. You meet your expectations no matter how low.
Yes, that's a very interesting point. You talked about you had breast cancer and you had some obstacles you worked your way through. And how else successfully working through breast cancer contributed to the creation of the book?
Well, when it was that idea about is that all there is, and pivoting there. But before that, so before I left my job, I really wanted to become a motivational speaker. And I was pretty good at project management, and I have an expertise in it. And I can, I've spoken on it a number of times. That's how that Poof book got written, because I was speaking on project management. And so when I got cancer and, okay, I got to get this right, I do share a little bit that story. It didn't hit me really hard like it should have, but there's some reasons why that didn't happen. But my husband thought I was crazy. But there were two things that I really needed him to do for me, and that was to print out a picture of Mother Teresa and Roy Rogers.
I love that combination, Mother Teresa and Roy Rogers. Where's Trigger in this picture? You think Mother Teresa
Trigger's
might give
always
Trigger
there
right?
in my heart. And then the third thing was I went out and got a bumblebee pillow to put my feet on. So this story is, I thought, so what I was doing is as soon as I got the note or the call and okay, it's cancer. And I was looking at something in a store. It's kind of cute. And it's not the right time to be buying things. And I leave the store, go home. And then I think, okay, this is a project. What's next? What do I do next? Give me the steps. 1, 2, 3. And I felt pretty confident. But I thought of Mother Teresa, and one of the first things I had ever heard about her was they invited her to, okay, I'm old. They invited her to walk in a protest against the Vietnam War.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I think I've read a lot of stories about that, protests in Vietnam War and everything.
Yeah. But she declined, and she said, if you ever walk for peace, please call me. I'll be there, but I won't protest the war. And I thought, the people always talk about, and what's really critically important, you do it your personal way. I'm not suggesting anybody do what I did. There's all different kinds of reasons why I did. I'm not recommending anything. But for me, I didn't feel like I could fight it, because there's a lot about fighting, fight like a girl, fight. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I can't fight something that doesn't sleep. I really sleep a lot. So, this was my mind. And I thought, I am going to march for health. And so that's why Mother Teresa was there. And then Roy Rogers, let's get this shorter. Roy Rogers saved me from a million different horrible situations when I was a little girl. And, he always saves me, pulls me out of these things. And the bumblebee is, I always love the message that if man today were to invent the bumblebee, it would look entirely different, because those little tiny wings can't really support that body. But fortunately, we didn't design the bumblebee, and they're doing just fine. They can fly. They support their body.
And also produce honey as well, too, which we need, and pollinate the flowers. I mean, they more than just buzz and sing and sting if you really tick them off. It's like they do more than that. It's like you gotta bless them. So
yeah, absolutely. And it's just the kind of thing that I can do this. And these were my sort of pillars that I leaned on. And as I was assembling these things, and, now I'm in chemo and it's really knocking the heck out of me. I started laughing really hard, because this dream building and this be careful what you wish for, etc. And it's like, I really wanted to be a motivational speaker, but I didn't really have any motivating topics. So I thought, well, this whole Mother Teresa thing and Roy Rogers thing, now this could be something. So I certainly added that to the book, and it's all part of it. So I really feel like, okay, all right, I'll be careful what I wish for in the future. But I felt like it was something with substance, but kind of extreme. And so it really just helped me, you know what, I got to write this stuff. I talk about it all the time, but I just got to write this stuff down. So from a huge amount of information, I put together my favorite pieces of it and the ones that I used and I tried and found to be working. So,
that's so amazing. And we'll talk about more about the book. Come on, let's play. And some of the other aspects involved with the book with Dee Suberla. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books, where remembering is a key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at a wedding, and even more so at yours. And who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs, huh? Well, the holidays are coming, and what better time to give a gift for remembrance that would make you laugh and cry at the same time? Whatever gift for Grandma's recipes, or just because those smiles and tears will just melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw, Picture This Photo Books, at 646-798-0809, or visit picturethisphotoBooks.com. Mention Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books. Bring your memories back to life. The whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you. Also, check out The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com and over 30 podcast platforms. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And check out The Mike Wagner Show merchandise at themikewagnershow.com. Also on Amazon.com at The Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books, merchandise, and a lot more. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. And to support The Mike Wagner Show, give generously to themikewagnershow.com. Also, support us on Anchor FM/support and PayPal at The Mike Wagner Show and Mike Wagner Voiceover, and make sure you do so today. We're here with the multi-talented author and also an author of Come On, Let's Play, Living, Playing, and Moving Forward, Dee Suberla here on the Mike Wagner Show. And Dee, maybe a bit more about your book, Come On, Let's Play. And we also talked about, great book, makes me want to read it. Poof, you're a project manager. And before we talk about more about Come On, Let's Play and some other things like in the workplace and experience, who are some of your favorite authors and writers growing up?
Well, it's funny because I have gotten this question a few times, and I always think about, man, I have to expand my reading. But certainly Wayne Dyer, definitely at the top of the house. But gosh, I just got this thing for Stephen King.
Oh, yeah.
Love his books. And I just read his most recent. And it's funny, I think I need to write him an open letter because I just loved it.
Here's Johnny.
Yeah. And it's funny because I won't read all of them because some of them are just too scary. This one was perfect for me. So there are still to this day some that I haven't read, and I won't be reading because I do scare easily. Mm-hmm. So most of my reading though is with the self-help. Some of the so Dyer and a number of things from Hay House. But there's also that switchover where I do a lot of reading in project management and in leadership, because I do most of my reading is really more like research for coaching or for consulting, where I'm showing up to help people learn how to do it. It all feels like coaching to me. I don't really do much of the go in and do all the work. It's I have someone that I'm helping to be able to handle it so I can run away. So there's a lot of those sorts of things. Harry Kramer's book on leadership was good. And there's so much out there. And then I do a lot of reading related to the Heart Math Institute. That's an area that I coach and teach in that helps people manage their stress. And I do a lot of reading in it because there's a lot of medical jargon. You really need to understand what's going on biologically, and that's not my forte. So I'm really doing a lot more studying. But when I want to run away, I find Mr. King's help. Now I'm buying a few books, young adult books, because that's my next one. I'm jumping off the business train, and I have a young adults fantasy adventure that I'm gonna start shopping around.
Oh,
So that'll be fun.
That looks interesting. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. And we also covered a bit on leadership and motivating teams, and of course how to move on to the next step, and also being different about the book and key to success and everything. And there's one I see is the most overlooked of all is the emotional intelligence in the workplace. It seems like there's always leadership, there's always motivation, there's always success, but hardly anyone ever talks about emotional intelligence. And tell us more about that from your perspective, especially.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about emotional intelligence, and I have products that I use to train people, and this information comes from the Wiley organization. I'm an authorized partner, and I'm so excited about their emotional intelligence. So first of all, what the heck is it? And what do you do with it? So I've been in or part of presentations talking about this is emotional intelligence, your ability to handle a situation properly, to identify what's going on and to manage through it. There's a lot of different ways people define it. But what I found to be so exciting about the one that I'm working with right now is you learn all of that. So there's a DISC profile. I don't know if you've heard of that, DISC. That's a personality assessment, puts you in some categories. And a lot of people go through that. And that's wonderful in and of itself. Learning about what's the critical point, and it is a direct link to emotional intelligence, is learning that there are a bunch of other personalities. So whether it's with DISC or any of them out there, learning about how you communicate, how you do business, and then how other people do it. So that ties into that leadership and emotional intelligence. It ain't just you. You don't treat people the way you want to be treated in that how you communicate. So yes, of course, we want to be treated well and respected, but how you go about doing things. So a quick story of emotional intelligence in action, which really just sort of hooked me and pulled me into it, was I had a very large program, and some of the key players, there were two key players that did not get along, and both of them came up to me individually complaining about the other one. I was pulled into this because the previous leader.
No.
and so I had
behave.
Okay, I'm going to tie you both up on the wrist until you. But I tell people that the way I deal with these things, my first response is, please go talk with the other person, see what you can work out. If you can't work something out, come on back and the three of us will talk. I can't do a one-on-one conversation. So they just never came back, of course. And we went and had one of these. It was a DISC assessment. But what they found out is they found out about all the different communication styles. And one of them is an outgoing and real personable. Hey, how was your weekend? How are the kids? What do you know? And then the other one is, hi, did you get the answer? What are we doing? How do we, how is it going? What are we going to do next? Can we get this done today? And, just boom, boom, boom. And these were the two opposing types, and they learned about that. So I'm standing by. So one was a D and one was an I. I'm standing by the D's office. I see the I go in there. And at this point, we've all got our little sheets of paper that say what kind of person we are on this grid. And I hear the I say, okay, you're a D. So I'm going to tell you right now, the protocol was finished. It passed. They're working on the final report, and they expect it to be ready at the beginning of next week. And so I turn around and look, and the D goes like this. She's sitting down at her desk. Thank you. How's your family? It's not, doesn't roll off the tongue. But I loved that because then there were no more problems. They were really secure in the fact that it's a communication style and nothing else. So the cool thing is that emotional intelligence is getting out there. And I have a couple of emotional intelligence webinars that were recorded, and they're on my website. And it talks about one way. But this other way is that you go through, you find out your personality types, you find out your communication styles and what your go-to responses to situations. And then you practice being put into an opposing side where, okay, here's a situation now, and you do this in class. And now, which style will you take to respond? You've learned about the styles. Which style is requested by or demanded by this situation? What's going to get you to go faster? And you learn to use a different style. And that is like the key in the lock. I could hear the click. That's the thing that's missing from all the instruction. This is it. This is it. This is what you would see. But to actually get in and do it. And I think people need to practice that, where I'm kind of a split between those two, a D and an I. And when I'm in the D side of it, I can be very curt.
So in other words, it depends on the situation. It's like if you need something like right away, you tend to be a D, but if you're indirect, it's like, hey, how's it going? And can you get this done? It'd be an I. So a D is a direct, and I is an indirect. So,
and it's yeah, they have, the definitions for all things, but that you're right on course with that. And it's so important. And what we learn, and then back to the book and all of those materials, some of which are by Dr. Dyer, is about taking a pause, respond instead of react. And that's what you need. Everybody needs to do that. Everybody needs to learn what they're doing is how their life is right now, or what they're thinking about their life is what their life is right now. And you can have control. If you fly off, you still can have control. You can pause, take a beat, think, what's the best solution? When I was just working with that information, I'm kind of quick to, flared tempers. I can be. And
many of us have those days. Don't worry about it. So
yeah. But I learned to pause. I learned to think about it. And so there was one person in the office that really bugged the heck out of me, and they came at me again, and they're, like, we already talked about this 3 times. And so I stopped and I thought, all right, I'm not going to be angry, but I also want this person to know that this is not acceptable. So I was very firm in my response, and the tone I'm using now. Okay, 3 times we talked about it. And here, I'll give it to you one more time, but I really need you to work on this, to retain this, keep your notes. So, but I made that decision, and I was able to communicate as well as sort of say, okay, I'm kind of done with this now. So that's a help.
That's really interesting. You talk about the DISC assessment being D is indirect, I indirect. What does the S and C stand for?
Yeah, so D is, I think, dominance.
Dominance, okay.
Excuse me here. Nope, I don't have them up there. I is outgoing. That's introvert. It's not an introvert, so it's an extrovert. But so I don't have that, but I could certainly send you a note on this. And then the C, these people are conscientious, but they also are loving the harmony. They want things to go, but boy, they want things to be right. DISC. That was the S. I'm sorry, I messed that up. Okay,
that's so okay.
D, direct. I is the outgoing person. C is the DIS. S is the one I'm trying to get my arms around here. S is the one who's very much like a C. Both want things to be accurate. Both do not cut corners. Both really want to make sure everything is correct. But the S is the one that wants the harmony, wants to make sure everybody's included, and they have you can mistake them as a passive person. They are not passive in that they get the work done. They hold to the line. The last one, the C, they're almost not really grumpy, but they're just so focused on accuracy, backup data, and then more data and more data. When you work with these folks, you're probably going to have some laboratories around. You see a lot of people like that. We're up in the I area. You're going to see a lot of marketing people like that, but you can have them flipped. It's not really a type relating to a job, but that's kind of where you see it. And so on the C person, you're going to maybe want them to help us find the answer rather than, this exploring. They're going to want to explore and get all the data, but maybe you don't always need that.
Sounds like a lot of computer people out there, being focused and everything else like in today's society. And this also ties into leadership as well, too, like motivating teams, leadership styles and everything else. And maybe touch upon a few of those. And what's probably like the most recommended leadership style, according to the book.
Yeah. So once you start getting into this, you find out that a leadership style that's recommended is yours. There's not one. A lot of people, when they first start playing with it, they'll say D's are good leaders because you can, there's a lot of sort of cliches there about leaders.
Mm-hmm.
However, any one of them makes a great leader, and a great leader has to authentically be themselves and know what they're doing. And one of the things about motivating teams, and I do get a lot of questions on that. So I am of the belief that, and I believe it's Hertzberg, his model talks about you don't really motivate people. You demotivate them.
Huh.
That's what's real easy to do. It's hard to get somebody to embrace a concept and run with it. It's like having a team of quarterbacks. Give me that ball. I'm going to make sure it gets right.
Sounds like all-star quarterbacks like the Bears or Green Bay or Minnesota or Detroit Lions in your area.
Yeah, we got a lot of them. But it really is, you have to not make them mad, to not disappoint them. And so everybody wants respect. Everybody wants to be trusted, but not everybody appears that way to begin with. And so I think that if you give them, first of all, know that they're good, know that they're going to do their job, know that they want to do it. And you have to generate the trust before they're going to be motivated by you at all. But if they're not paid well, if they're not given recognition, if you don't have an open door, take time to talk to each one of your team members, you're not going to get there. So really, if when you talk about the DISC, you maybe want to be that S, harmony, appear in their lives a bit. You're not going to spend a lot of time with it, but you're going to acknowledge these people and you're going to ask them, hey, can you speak on this? Can you cover? You're going to want them to do their jobs and to be recognized for it. So they talk about how employees get demotivated all the time because they're not paid well, or there is no respect, or they just don't feel like they get any recognition for a job well done. Mm-hmm. We used to joke around about this, and in project management, when you're doing your job, everything's going just right. The project's doing what it's supposed to do. The people are doing what they're supposed to do. And nothing's happening. And a lot of times people say, well, we don't really need project management. Everybody's, and then, okay, let's get rid of it. And then all of a sudden everything falls apart again. But in project management, leading teams is extra special because they don't report to you most cases. And so, when I teach this at the University of Chicago about it really works well if they want to follow you. This is a good judgment here. Mm-hmm. So they're here to do a job. So really, we shouldn't have to motivate them to do their job, theoretically. But, the thing is they're going to want to follow you when you do all of those things, that you treat them just normally and you give them appreciation and you let them know and you're really clear. And by gosh, you hold them accountable and you hold yourself accountable. You drop the ball. I dropped the ball. Sorry, you guys, won't happen again, but this was my bad. And I'll have it fixed up by the beginning of the week. And you report in on it. You take it. And they love that. Nobody likes anybody to make mistakes. But when the leader makes a mistake, just own it. Like a badge. Put it on there.
Right. And do you think the leadership styles have changed throughout the years? I mean, you've been in it for 30 years. Do you think it's changed dramatically? How much? Is it more direct, becoming more indirect? How do you think the leadership styles have changed throughout the decades?
I think that it's getting more soaked in to the population. Leaders used to be an individual, CEO kind of thing or whatever. And then when I was in the thick of it there, all of a sudden I'm hearing everyone's a leader. And what are you talking about? Everyone's a leader. I'm not but of course I was one of those indirect leaders where I was lower at the time on the totem pole, but I did have a lot of people that would support me or whatever. And so I was a bit of a leader back then when I was working in the labs. But the answer is yes and no. Because yes, in that it's getting more ingrained and people are getting more attuned to it, that you just don't tell people what to do. That is not leadership. And when learning the difference between a manager and a leader in my earlier college days, I'm seeing a lot of that now. It's so funny. Boss is bad, leader is good. Manager is bad, leader is good. And it's like, no, this is wrong. I finally had to, on LinkedIn, I commented, we've now made all managers and bosses bad and all leaders good. And I can tell you, I've had some pretty less than perfect leaders and wonderful managers and bosses. So the servant style, be a servant leader. This is new. And first time I heard it myself was relative to the types of project management one uses when you're doing software and things. And they have servant leadership as opposed to the other kind of leadership, which is really bad, where, you know, everybody is supposed to report and worship the project manager going, whoa, where was this? Because that was not where I grew up. And we did a little research, and servant leader is a term that came up in the 40s. Okay. And the definition,
back? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that shocking? I didn't at the time. But I'm like, when did that happen? When did that happen? And one of my lovely students looks it up. You can hear the typing in the background. And here it comes. So the definition of leadership, I don't think has changed much at all. And like so many things, we're putting a new little outfit on it, but fundamentally it's the same thing. All servant leaders are the best leaders because they're not about themselves. The ego-driven, I'm the boss, do what I say, those are bad leaders. And you can call them a manager, you can call them a boss. But I don't think it's helpful to take those terms and show the definition. There's a cartoon going around on social media now where a boss takes a person by the feet and uses them like a golf club, and a leader, I don't know, they're throwing them a party or something.
I think I saw something similar to that, where it's like, it's not a golf club, but it's where it's like, you know, back in the old days, it's like a boss would just take a whip and just, you know, crack it to, like, you know, a herd of people, which it can be horses, it can be sheep, it can be lambs, or anything like that, you know, back in the day. And then it later reversed, where it's like, you know, the same herd and all that, take the whip and then just, you know, give it to the guy or something like that. Or it's like, say, hey, come over here. It's like, I think it's somewhere along the lines you're talking.
Yeah. And it's really, when we look at the negative examples, that's never acceptable. It's not. I think that the positive examples are in project management, because this is a huge piece there. It's being authentically you and doing what needs to be done and understanding what the heck your job is. And it's making sure that everybody knows what you're doing, where you're going, and that you're there to back them 100%. When things go wrong, it's my fault. I wasn't communicating clearly enough. When things go right, hey, look at this team. Nobody could do it unless this team was on it. This is the team that made it happen. And you've got to be able to do that. If you want a lot of credit for things and all that, maybe you're not a leader. Maybe you're more of an individual contributor. And that's great. That's not a problem. But I think fundamentally, leaders are people who are leading people to a goal. And managers or bosses have a set of goals that in the short term that need to be achieved in order for the bigger sort of corporate leadership goals can be, obtained, or the vision and of the company and, the mission and all of those sorts of things that comes down. There's a hierarchy to it. And, lower on that hierarchy is what's immediate. If we don't have this stuff done by Q2, one of these projects is being talked about in Wall Street, so we better have it right. And that's that leader or project manager or boss saying, we got to do this. And if we can't do it, gosh, we got to get that information up the chain immediately. So I think success is knowing how to treat people, knowing knowing that they can be easily demotivated, watch for things, talk, ask questions, get feedback, and then make it clear what we're here to do. Got one job right now. Let's make this project happen. And that's what we're all doing together. So let's make it happen.
That's very interesting as well, too, in terms of projects, in terms of management, and also especially through the book and going through numerous of challenges like you talked about on the program here. Do you feel like you've given all?
I don't. I feel like I'm just getting started, which I love. If I could do it all over, I would have been writing a long time ago. It's so funny, the things that I really had a passion for, like, I used to write poetry all the time. 5th grade, I have poems from 5th grade. And then I started reading up on it. And then I realized I didn't know anything about poetry. So I stopped writing poetry.
Oh, my. And
then writing a little bit more and all that. And then always wanting to write a book. And what is the permission I'm seeking? I don't know. But then I did it. COVID, when we're coming into this and it looked like, oh, man, we're going to be shut down. And I thought, all right, what is it that I'm going to do so that when COVID is over, I'm not going, oh, man, I should have done that while I was housebound. And that's how Come On, Let's Play happened. Mm-hmm. Because it was like, you know what? Got to make this thing happen.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you encourage everybody to play as well, too. Living, playing, moving forward. Maybe just a bit about the book once again for those who didn't catch it as well, too. It's like, it's important to play nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's these different concepts about the way you think. So if you're thinking a certain way that, oh, I could never do that, I'm too old. I could never do that, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm too tall. That's usually men or that's usually women. Whatever limits you're putting on yourself, there are ways like get rid of that. I can do that if I want to. If my passion is there, I can do it. And so the idea, it goes into some, details, and there's even some tools to help you. But play with these things, because the word play is so important in there, because we're playing with changing the way we think, and we're just playing with it. You can change the way you think for a day, right? See if it works.
Right.
You don't. But there are people who are very stuck in their ways, that this always happens. And I know it does. Well, maybe it doesn't. Maybe. Yes, it does. I'm like, okay, I'm going to just leave you with that. And, you go ahead and do your thing. But the book is urging you to, hey, just play with these ideas. Run a little sample, do an experiment.
Mm-hmm. And that's very amazing as well, too. Where can we find Come On, Let's Play, Poof, your project manager, and more about your services? Where can we find your books and your services and your website?
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much. My website is suberlaconsulting.com. Everything can be found there. The books are also on the website, and then Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. So both of the books are there, and I'm always open to questions and things. So I know some people did have some questions. It was a lot of fun when they first read the books. But the Come On, Let's Play is really if you're kind of stuck or something and you're looking for, how do I refresh? Let me hit the refresh button. Or if you're feeling trapped, if you're feeling like, oh, I'm a victim of my life, try that book and just play with it. And then the Delusions of Grandeur. The Poof, You're a Project Manager and Delusions of Grandeur is there for if you were just thrown into the job and you're like, what do I do now? And it really just kind of gives you an idea of places to go, like PMI.org. That's everything project management, and different things to try, and how to work with management when they say, we want it tomorrow. It's going to take 6 months. So
I think I'll go and order that for myself and manage myself too. And what's coming up for Dee Suberla and more, I'll find out just 1 minute. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by our official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Molson's The Missing, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Also brought to you by Picture This Photo Books, where remembering is a key ingredient. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotobooks.com. We'll be back with author Dee Suberla of Come On, Let's Play and Poof, Your Project Manager after this timeout.
This edition of The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books, where remembering is a key ingredient. how beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. And who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs? The holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry all at the same time? Whatever gift of Grandma's recipes, or just because, those smiles and tears will melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotoBooks.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books, bringing your memories back to life. They're whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is Ray Powers. And if there's one thing you can count on in these unpredictable times, it's that you're in good hands getting some great radio, courtesy of The Mike Wagner Show.
We're back with author Dee Suberla of Come On, Let's Play here on the Mike Wagner Show. It's been great talking to you, and learned a lot from you: project management, emotional intelligence, and also the corporate world, and got a lot of great advice. And what else can we expect from you in 2021 and beyond, Dee?
Well, I'm going to be writing more. So my current, I guess it would be The Seed. I've finished the manuscript for The Zing Fling, which is this is a young adult's novel, probably more middle grade, but in genres, I'm still negotiating these paths. But it's a lot of fun. And so this one, I'm going to spend some time to get an agent and have it done traditional publishing. Not sure how patient I'll be with that. So there's always a plan B in project management. We call that the contingency plan. And I've got someone that I think I'm probably going to work with to publish it myself, but do it a little bit differently than I have in the past.
And of course, it's also good to put those principles into action as well, too. I think I'll do that myself, too. Learned a lot. So
good. I'm so glad. That makes me happy.
Yes, it does.
So I'm going to just have fun. Have fun. Be good, be kind. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
And that's very amazing as well. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career, Dee?
In my career, I'm going to have to say my parents. Although my father was a sort of a furnace man, air conditioning guy. My mom was a inhalation therapist. But you never stop. You keep going. You don't leave it. You keep going. And I think I just did that. And I wound up, when I started as a secretary, and wound up as a senior program manager, taking care of a few businesses with project management, and then said, hey, I'm going to go be a consultant. Hey, I'm going to write some books. And it's like, oh my gosh, I also want to do a poetry book. So.
Oh, I'm certainly looking forward to that. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
You are perfect, just as you are. And you and I and Michael are on a path to growth. You're growing. You're never always going to be just like you are today. Don't beat yourself up. You are perfect.
You really touched my heart on that one. That was
I'm
amazing.
So glad.
I love it.
I'm so glad.
That was the best advice I've heard. That's amazing. Once again, with author Dee Suberla of Come On, Let's Play, her latest book, Living, Playing, and Moving Forward, the Mike Wagner Show, along with Poof, your project manager, and other delusions of grandeur. A very big thank you for your time, Dee. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Just keep us up to date and keep in touch.
I will.
And definitely, and once again, tell us about your upcoming projects, what's your website, how do people contact, where can people purchase your books, or simply check out your services? Okay, so yeah, again, the website is Suberla, S-U-B as in boy, E-R-L-A Consulting. And really the quick way to do it, I recently Googled my name and all kinds of things popped up there. So I'm real easy to find. The phone number, the email addresses are all on the website, but Suberla.com and D-E-E, say more, D@Suberla.com is my email. And if you have questions or you're curious, get a hold of me. Let's talk. We certainly will do so. Once again, Dee, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Learned a lot from you. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor. Keep us up to date. Love you back in 2021 and beyond. Don't forget to keep in touch. You've been absolutely terrific, and we definitely wish you all the best. Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate it. You guys are great too here. Great stuff you got going on.
Picture this photo books, where remembering is the key ingredient. Preserving memories, keeping the memories of your loved ones alive as they reach in and touch your heart. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. The holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry all at the same time? Whether it's a gift of past holidays, grandma's recipes, long ago moments, or just because. Those smiles and tears will melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809. Once again, that's 646-798-0809. Or visit picturethisphotobooks.com.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.